a lot of people are still talking about the resignation or the retirement of Chancellor Robert Duncan from Texas Tech University. I spent a lot of time on the show talking about it this morning, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in this video. Hey everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Well, obviously, I spent a lot of time talking on the show on Tuesday about Robert Duncan and his resignation as Chancellor of the Texas Tech University system. Robert Duncan has been an excellent Chancellor by all accounts for Texas Tech University, and now he's been forced out, or as the popular story is, he has decided to retire pretty abruptly. Now, I'm not going to spend, an entire hour like I did this morning talking about this, but let's go through some of the nuts and bolts here, and I'll give a condensed version of what may be going on here. Late last week, the Texas Tech Board of Regents got together. They discussed, among other things, improvements to Texas Tech University that included the Texas Tech Vet School. It's also my understanding, I've heard from a few people, that there was a vote from the Board of Regents, whether that was a formal vote or informal vote. I have not been able to completely get, but I have heard there was a vote about whether or not they had confidence in Robert Duncan as Chancellor. Now, that vote seemed to swing against Robert Duncan, and that's why he's on his way out. He announced on Monday night pretty abruptly that he was going to be retiring. Now, there was a separate story that came out from Michael Quinn Sullivan of Empower Texans earlier on Monday, where he stated that it was his impression that a university chancellor was going to be forced out of his position due to, financial reasons or inappropriate use of university funds, whatever that may mean. That story has been out there, but no one's really talking about it. It doesn't really seem to be gaining any steam. It could in the future, but the reason I think Robert Duncan is out as Chancellor is because of one single issue, and that is the Texas Tech Vet School. Texas Tech has wanted to launch a veterinary school. It would be housed, or it would be placed, I guess, in Amarillo. The folks in Amarillo want it. Folks at Texas Tech want it. Robert Duncan wants it. But there's been discussion ever since the last legislative session that not every single member of the Texas Tech Board of Regents has been on board with the idea of a vet school for Texas Tech University. There are some rumors that has to do with personal ties or friendships or connections to folks over at Texas A&M University. There's also been some talk that there have been folks inside the governor's office with ties to the A&M system that have been putting pressure on the Board of Regents at Texas Tech to vote against a vet school in the future. So, what's the real story here? It's absolutely true that A&M does not want another vet school in Texas. They do not want Texas Tech to have a veterinary school in this state. They view it as competition. They don't want it. Now, do we need it out here? Absolutely. You go through, you talk to ag producers, farmers, those with animals, livestock in West Texas and into the Panhandle. They believe that there is another need for a vet school serving this part of the state. Texas Tech believes there is a need to serve this part of the state. A&M all of a sudden comes up with an idea after Texas Tech announces a vet school. Hey, why don't we place a vet school at West Texas A&M? Pretty sneaky of the Aggies. Folks, I think you can talk all day about whether or not there needs to be a vet school or doesn't need to be a vet school, and I'm sure Aggies are watching this and going, there's no need for another vet school in West Texas. The cold hard truth of this is that behind the scenes there has been politics at play. A&M, A&M regents, A&M presidents, A&M connected politicians who want to kill the Texas Tech Vet School. They have wanted to kill the project altogether. And now all of a sudden Robert Duncan is out. He's been the biggest, quite possibly the biggest, proponent of a vet school. So, uh, Robert Duncan's out, and there have been some of you who have asked, well, Chad, why do you think this is, either a conspiracy theory or, something more than a retirement? Back in July, the Lubbock Avalanche Journal asked Robert Duncan about whether or not he was viewing retirement at any point, and he said absolutely not. Now we're a couple of weeks into August, and he's decided it's time to retire. Smells a little fishy. Also, whenever a university chancellor decides to resign, usually they give more than just 2 weeks notice that they're leaving. Usually they give about a 3 to 6 month exit plan. Let the Board of Regents know, hey, this is my plan. Let the community know. Let alumni know. This is my plan. I'm leaving 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now. So that way everyone has time to get the ducks in order and there can be a transition plan. Not with Robert Duncan. Robert Duncan says at the end of August, I'm out of here. I'm done. See you later. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't pass the smell test at all when it comes to Robert Duncan and his love for Texas Tech University. I've heard from my own sources that this absolutely has to do with the vet school and that certain regents at Texas Tech University wanted to kill the Texas Tech vet school, and they will kill the Texas Tech vet school in the weeks and months and years to come, of course, that it will be a dead issue. They will kill it. And they had one of the ways they are going to be able to kill it is by getting rid of the chancellor who's been pushing and championing this entire issue. It looks like the Texas Tech Board of Regents has had their way. Will they go on the record, though, and admit that this is what it's all about? That remains to be seen. I personally feel as though the Texas Tech Board of Regents wants to play the waiting game, or at least those who want to kill the vet school want to play the waiting game and wait for the legislature to kill this. In my opinion, the West Texas delegation, including those here in Lubbock and in the Panhandle and throughout West Texas, they need to come together at this moment and declare that they are 100% still in favor of a Texas Tech vet school. It would make political sense for them to do this. It would make sense for the lawmakers out here to come together and say Texas Tech still needs a vet school and we are 100% on board. My message to the Texas Tech Board of Regents, I've already heard from or heard that some have denied that this had anything to do with the Texas Tech vet school. Fine. Put your money where your mouth is. Come out and immediately say that you are, and 100% say that you are on board with a Texas Tech vet school. Every Texas Tech Board of Regents should come out and say so immediately if they truly feel as though a vet school is in the future for Texas Tech. If they want to kill it, that to me shows that they are not looking out for the best interest of Texas Tech University, and that should make all of us, alums of Texas Tech University, those of us who live in West Texas, those of us who attend Texas Tech, all of us should be concerned about those who are supposedly placed in a position to look out for the best interest of the university. I put this out on Twitter, and I said it during the show, and I will say it once again. To the Texas Tech Board of Regents, who are you looking out for? Are you looking out for the best interest of Texas Tech University in West Texas? Or are you looking out for what's in the best interest of your own pockets and also what's in the best interest of Aggieland? Well, you need to let all of us know, and fast. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. As I wrap this up, I want to take one more opportunity to thank the former, soon-to-be former, Texas Tech Chancellor Robert Duncan. You did a hell of a job at Texas Tech University, and I hope you're not being thrown under the bus by regents who don't have Texas Tech's best interest in mind.